All right, here we go. Begin.
So we're back, and we are talking about Pixar's 2020 release of Onward. And I have to say, once again, a fantastic offering, really tight script, really tight story, excellent voice work by all of the actors. It's always fun to watch a Pixar movie and try to figure out who's who.
Especially who's John Ratzenberger.
And exactly, especially who is John Ratzenberger in the film itself. So, briefly, the film is about two brothers who are very much apart in age, but are very, very dissimilar in, it seems, every other category. The younger brother never met, I guess, the father, who seemed to have died from a disease many, many years ago.
He was sick.
He was sick. They never really talk about it, but he's no longer. The mother is widowed, and she's been raising these two boys on her own. So, who wants to go first? What did you think of the movie, G?
Ask someone else.
What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, the script writing, the like you said, the voice work was excellent. Chris Pratt, great as the older brother Barley, perfectly cast. He had that sort of like, reckless, I'm trying to find the right word, but,
Reckless behavior?
Sort of reckless behavior, but also sort of a...
Like goofy, older.
Goofy,
Playful.
fearless, playful, sort of lacking in the responsibility that, all the adults want their children to have, but... heart of gold, absolute heart of gold for that, and Chris Pratt's voice it lends itself perfectly to that.
I kept thinking Andy Dwyer the whole time I'm watching it. That's Andy.
And then Tom Holland is Ian, the younger brother, who I would say he is the main character of the movie. Tom Holland's just got that voice. I mean, come on, he's Peter Parker. He's I would almost say that there's some similarities between the Peter Parker character and the Ian character,
and that absolutely.
They're sort of like awkward at school, that's the type of kid at school who's just like
fades into the woodwork,
is not popular, not really despised, but just like unnoticed and like really wanting to like find themselves and reach out, and I thought that was great.
And I think, it's funny that you said that. I think another thing about that, and it's a really great connection, is that his voice also portrays that. There's almost like this uncertainty. There's almost like this doubt and this like hesitation in some of the nuanced voice patterns. And again, hats off to his diction coach, but I'm sure he's mastered the American accent.
Another Englishman stealing our jobs.
You would not tell that he was a 20-something-year-old from overseas, but he's playing the voice of a 16-year-old boy, and it comes through vividly, very nuanced, lovely in every note that he hits with that voice of his.
Yeah, he sounds nervous, but he sounds like he's trying.
Yes. And I think that's at the core of who Ian is, and at the core of, like you said, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Olive, what did you think of the movie?
It was better than Frozen 2, that's for sure.
It was better than Frozen 2.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. What made it better?
Everything.
Like
give us some specific.
What did you like about the movie?
What did you like most about it?
I liked the part with the big dragon in our shining parts of school. And it used that dragon's face, and it said "Go." That wall that said "Go
the logo.
Yeah.
He used the dragon.
The school mascot. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was clever.
Yeah.
I like how his eyebrows came up.
Yeah, they popped out and
went down.
Went down. That was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Pixar obviously just genius. I mean, all their production values, the seamlessness from seeing the nuanced ways where characters, like when the older brother's feelings sort of get hurt and you could see it in his eyes, to just attention to detail, maybe the wind ruffles somebody's hair, just all those lovely little just extras that you see when you really look at the small things that you see. The way
all the patches on his jacket.
Yes.
They all look like they're, like everything looks very lived in a Pixar movie. Like this world has existed
yes,
for a long time, and it's got like all the little things, even like just throwaway stuff in the background that you don't even really notice or care about you.
Right. The blades of grass when the three of them are dancing in the grass. I mean, it's just everything about a Pixar movie. I mean, it's funny. I've always thought it must be really fun to work there. And you could tell when people love what they do and I mean, obviously these people are all about great storytelling, and you could see it in every frame. And I think, once again, maybe not universally thought of as maybe the best Pixar movie, but I personally really, really like this. And I think that Pixar definitely, their production sets the gold standard as far as storytelling, especially animated storytelling, and actually just storytelling in general. I mean, I'm sure I've seen movies this past year where the plots and the story just didn't hold as well together as this particular film.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty excellent when it comes to that sort of thing, especially with creating new properties. I mean, they got a great track record of just like, all right, here's a story about, fantasy characters in the modern world, and here's a character about toys coming to life, and here's one about bugs, and and it's emotions. Oh my god, yeah. And it's like, why they just don't go back to the old stuff and like try and rehash it.
Everything's fresh and vibrant and new, and I love that they are not afraid to tackle these new things.
They're not afraid to do that, and not afraid to create a new property. And also, they seem to really hammer their stories. Get those things rock solid, because I mean, we watch a lot of movies, and every once in a while you watch a story and you're sort of into it, and then it's just like, oh, that's a hack. They just sort of hack and you're like, okay, that pulled me out of it a little. Even if it's still enjoyable, you're still like, oh, that's a little bit too convenient, isn't it?
Right.
Pixar really gets that stuff down.
Yes, I agree. And I think that at the end of the day, I mean, obviously they're a big juggernaut in the entertainment field, and all their properties, I'm sure, do very, very well financially for them. But I've always maintained, as a previous film student, as somebody who wanted to make films, if you don't have a good story, you have nothing. Because you can spend a ton amount of money on visual effects, actors, set designs, costumes, everything. Editors, editors are important, but you can spend a lot of money. But if you don't have a good story to begin with, you have nothing. I mean, I've seen movies where the production values weren't that great, but the story held me together, and and
vice versa.
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
There's been some beautiful, beautiful films where the story was just like,
what am I watching?
Yeah, this is garbage.
So, what was your favorite part, Jay?
I don't know.
Who was your favorite character?
The mom.
The mom. Why was she your favorite character?
Because she took matters into her own hands, and she didn't wait for the cops to come and save her son.
Well, I'm sure as a mom, right? Your instinct is, my kids are in trouble, I have to go and protect them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the relationship between her and the Manticore was very well done as well. There wasn't too much of it, but the scenes where they were together were exceptional. Hats off to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I thought was Tina Fey for some bizarre reason, and Octavia Spencer, who also...
Octavia Spencer was the Manticore?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So, hats off to them for impeccable voice work. What else? What was your favorite part of the movie? Did you have one? No.
Did you like the movie?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, what did I like the best? I enjoyed that moment where Ian realizes that it was his brother all along.
Yes.
That was,
always there
that sort of, that person that was always there for him, that was the biggest influence on his life, the one who was cheering him on, pushing him forward.
Making him who he was.
Trying to break him out of his shell the most out of anybody. And that, although, obviously his greatest desire was to see his father again and just share a moment with his dad, the fact that he sort of realized that he already had everything that he needed than he got it from Barley, his brother.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a beautiful moment in the movie.
I agree. I think that I was actually going to say that as well. Just the previous scene, spoilers, where Barley basically says the thing that propels him in life to change to never wanting to be scared ever, which was a very defining moment in his young life. And then at the end, when Ian sort of sacrifices his opportunity to have that special moment with the father and just give that to his brother, I thought those two scenes were lovely because they obviously go in hand, and it's more poignant because you realize Ian could have had this moment, but he chose to give it to his brother, which was lovely. And I think, again, kind of springboarding off something that you had said earlier, the idea of Pixar always just tackling new ways of telling that story, whether it's about feelings or whether it's about ancestry and about the life of bugs or the viewpoint of a toy. I think in this particular movie, it's just as good as Frozen was, which the first Frozen, obviously, which dealt a lot with the bond of sisters. And to have this kind of companion piece, because it all belongs to Disney, right? So to sort of have this companion piece is very, very sweet in a way, because I don't think they've ever done a story about brothers before. Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
So Pixar or Disney?
I mean, I'm sure Disney has at some point done something about brothers, but maybe not as fleshed out as this particular thing.
Yeah, not like the familiar, like actual siblings. I mean, you could argue, like Woody and Buzz became brothers or something like that, but that's not really
right.
It's not exactly
like
this
blood.
situation. It's not blood. It's not like it's not like growing up with this other person in your life who's just sort of always there, almost like your built-in friend from the get-go. I look at you and Olivia running around the house screaming and laughing and giggling, and I'm like, you probably may not consider this, but looking on, it looks like you two guys are each other's best friend.
Right. Even when you're fighting.
Even though I see you smirking right now. But I'll be honest, Olivia is the one that's like always there for you, and you're the one that's always there for Olivia.
Right. And I think I've said this to you before. I mean, when Dad and I go, Olivia's going to be your only family. So that's nice, because eventually, maybe not now, but as you get older, when you grow up, you can become each other's best friends. And having that familial tie, that history, because she doesn't know life without you. She doesn't.
And I think, like in the movie, I think your ages were similar.
Yeah.
Like you're 3 years apart from Olivia. I think in the movie they were about 3 years apart as well.
Right. Yeah. So that was very sweet. Just that the exploration of the boy brother relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also look at it as just siblings. I mean, sisters, brothers, brother and sister. If you have a sibling, you'll go through good times. You'll go through bad times. Obviously, hopefully, the good outweighs the bad, but you'll always have family, and that's also important.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to add anything else, Jim?
Nope.
I guess this is the quickest review we've ever done because Kid 2 has locked herself
Kid
in the
2 is
bathroom.
in the bathroom as usual.
Except it's not dinner time.
Yeah, dinner time is when she will go back in the bathroom and sit there for half an hour.
She'll retreat to her lair.
Overall, what'd you think?
Overall, I would give it an 8.5. I think it was really tight. The animation is flawless. The voice acting was stellar. Again, not too many components. Nothing seemed out of place. Nothing seemed extra. Everything about it, shot for shot, frame for frame, page for page for story. I think it was just such a lovely piece. And kudos to Pixar again for bringing their A game and telling those stories and pushing the heartstrings. I think another thing that was kind of fun about this movie is that it's more action based. there were a lot of scenes where we were like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen now?
There were a lot of like really tense moments there. You know.
Yes. And I think-
Gelatinous cube.
And again, story structure is so important. We talked about the hero's journey, Ian's journey, and the realization of coming to this epiphany that the thing that he was searching for was always there this whole time. Yeah, just really great. 8.5. Lovely, 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 lovely piece. A really great addition to the Pixar canon. Fortunately, during these times, we can't really go out to see these movies in the theater, but
it was nice that Disney Plus put it on their service early so that we could watch it at home.
Yes, agreed. So thank you to Disney. Don't know what the licensing and merchandising for this particular film is going to be like. I mean, I hope they do well. I hope it's successful for them.
They're Pixar Disney. They ain't hurting.
I know, but how do you monetize something like this? That's
there's all the toys they have for the other movies too. I mean,
I guess I don't know. These are such strange times we're living in. But what did you think? What did you think about the movie?
1,000.
You thought it was good?
1,000% good.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
1,000%. So from a 1 to a 10, you'd give it 1,000.
And your favorite part was the dragon, you said? Okay. All right. I would also give it like somewhere between an 8 and 9. Yeah, it was up at the top of the Pixar movies.
I'd probably give it an 8 3/4.
Okay.
8 3/4.
Or 8.75.
Or 8.75, also known as 8 3/4.
All right. So that was our brief analysis of Onward by Pixar.
Thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk to you again all soon. Say goodbye, kids.
Bye.